Right guys, welcome back to another episode in prep. Not sure what week it is, week 5 maybe. Going well, smoothly. Training's going well. Just ticking over nicely. Just obviously focusing more on the execution, more on controlling the load and making sure that I'm loading the muscle properly. In its full range of motion. I'm kind of starting again with progression. I've since kind of taken a step back and working my way back with form and load. It's allowed me to continue to progress during prep. I'm still progressing as we move through prep now, which is good. So I'm not even at the point yet where I'm having to just hold numbers, and I'm actually still moving up in terms of numbers, in terms of reps and load, but obviously sticking to this better execution, because I was running out of room. I was running out of room on movements where, I don't know, example, I'm looking at the calf raise now, but I was stacking that with 220s, a 10 and a 5. The plates were falling off the gym pin as I'd go through the set, and I was smashing out for a set of 10. Whereas now it's kind of got rid of the gym pin, much more controlled, still doing full stack, but much more controlled, much more feel for the actual set, and making the muscle work more and probably more intense work, because I'm actually loading the muscle properly instead of just shifting load with brute force, which, don't get me wrong, I really do miss training like that, because I'd come in and do something that I've never done before, whether it's a press, a T-bar row, a squat, a hack squat. Working up to 7 plates on a hack was really enjoyable for me. That's kind of the thing that gets me going. That kind of enjoyable factor through training is pushing myself, pushing the limits where. With load and seeing what I can do, but now we're starting again, so we're in a good place. Prep's going well though, cardio's going well, ticking over. It's pretty straightforward right now. We had a refeed last week of 5 guys on Friday, so we ran that into the ground and brought back some good formers for Saturday session. Moving into Monday, that's kind of when things, I dropped nicely Sunday night to a lowest weigh-in, so weight didn't move at all after the 5 guys. I held weight, and then, like I said, I dropped down to the lowest weigh-in so far in prep, which was good. So, cannot complain. Today we're in for back, so we're going to get straight into it. Standard procedure for back, calf raises to start, into rear delt, and then into back. So T-bar row, single arm hammer pull down, hammer strength pull down, and then we go into a single arm iso row, which is one of my favourite movements for connection. Into another single arm movement, single arm deer handle pull down, and then into a Smith machine barbell row, and that is us. So we're going to start calves and then work through, but I'll try and talk through this session. The microphone is fully charged, so it won't be that like last time. I'll be able to kind of talk through everything and let you know what's what. So let's get after it. So calf raises, rear delt flies done. 2 sets on rear delt flies. Just the standing ones on the cable, really get a good connection with those. As long as I go moderate weight, if I start to go heavy, I start to lose feeling in my rear delts and start to move towards just tugging in my back, which we don't want yet. You know, that is a rear delt movement for rear delt purposes. But moving on to our first back movement, which is T-bar. Which one is this? It is. It's Body Masters T-bar. So I like to have my feet pretty clamped on the floor for this. I feel much more stable, and the movement's actually a bit harder, I feel, than actually putting your feet on the platforms and leaning over it. You can kind of use a lot of momentum with doing that, I feel, where I get much more control and much more feel through the back whilst having my feet firmly on the floor. So 3 sets in total for this. Load went up last week, so we're kind of starting again with the rep range. I think I got like 3 sets of 8 last week. Made sure I kind of held that 8th rep with the 3 sets, as it was a bit heavier load. So I wanted to see how that went. Obviously, when you're doing kind of 3 straight sets, you want your reps to fall off as the reps go forward. So your first set you might get 10, second set you might get 9, and then you might match 9 on the third or get 8. But that's where you kind of want to sit. So today, obviously, I'll be going for 9 or 10 reps on the first set, and then I want my reps to drop off from there. As long as you're pushing to failure. Obviously, you've got to push to failure. Don't just get less reps because for the sake of getting less reps, you know. So that's what we're working with. So we'll work up. I usually start with 2 plates, 3, 4, 5, and then 5.5 is top set at the moment. So again, you know, I used to pull 6 or 7 plates on there, feeling like I'm getting more out of it by dropping the load back down a bit slightly. We're still going heavy, don't get me wrong, 5.5 plates on this is heavy, but this is allowing me to connect better with my back and actually think about what I'm doing instead of just moving load from A to B. So that's where we're at. That was good. 9 reps on first set, so rep up from last week. Form was pretty much spot on from the week before. What I do as well, because I film pretty much, well, you'll see on my Instagram, I film every day and put movements up every day for training. So I actually go back on my Instagram from the week before, have a look at my form, and make sure I execute the same this week. So that's the kind of biggest thing for me, because I can get carried away. You know, I'll run good form for 3-4 weeks, and then I'll start slipping back into my old ways of just shifting load, and form starts to break down a bit, and I get too excited about increasing load and beating it, but it's not what we're trying to do. You know, the muscle doesn't know how much load you're using. Obviously, it still knows the intensity that you're going at, how much tension is being put through the muscle. So that's what we need to do. You know, whether that's with 5.5 plates instead of 6 or 7, that's what we're going to do. Obviously, over time, I want to get to the point where I'm doing 6 or 7 plates with good execution. That's the main goal. But to do that right now is just not necessary. And so that's, you know, something I'm going to be working on in the next off season, is to build my load up to that point and be able to keep good execution without slipping back into just moving load from A to B, and stop the kind of momentum training and just thrashing weights about. So don't get me wrong, I'll still probably have like 1 or 2 sessions like that just because I want to, just as it is fun for me. So that's kind of what we're working on. So two more sets in here. What I'll try and do now is stick both reps with 8 to match last week, and we'll work it from there. Normally your first set you're going to kind of progress, so that's what we'll get into. Moving into single arm iso row, another plate loaded movement. Just come off the hammer strength, which is good. 2 total sets on there, 1 top set, 1 back off, which is nice. And then we've got 3, a drop set on the second set as well. So we've still got drop sets, rest pause sets in. Still kind of pushing that volume. Because obviously now I'm not working with the loads I was working with last time, so we just do more work, more volume. Take the load for more sets, more reps, and more times to failure basically. Drop set or rest pause set, just taking the set beyond failure. I'm waiting like 15 seconds after my working set and then going into that intensify. So on here, pretty similar, 3 sets. Not sure if there's any intensifiers on here. I need to check. Might be one on the last, like a rest pause set. So yeah, we'll work into this, and then into another cable pull down, and then into our Smith machine barbell row. So yeah, this is a good one. As long as your form is good, execution is good, you know where to kind of target the muscle. We're not throwing it back. We're kind of sitting up straight and driving into that pocket right in there. So I allow a little bit of body language on maybe the last one, but as soon as I know that I've hit failure, then the set is done. I don't try and push beyond that just to get like a 60% decent rep. It's all on the muscle or the set is done. So yeah, moving to this, 3 sets and then move on. Correction on the single arm iso row. It's 2 sets of 8 as well. So no intensifiers, just 2 sets, 2 straight sets. So done 1, we get 10. So probably looking at 9 on this one, and we'll move on. I think I was just thinking not to ramble on about my training, but I suppose if you are still watching, this is kind of what you want to know, what are the insights you want to know, where my head is at, and where my mindset's at with the whole bodybuilding aspect thing. I was thinking before, I do feel a sense of, it's difficult to say a word or know if I'm really making that much sense, but obviously since coming off, like backing off on the load, for example, hack squat, my peak hack squat was like 7 plates for 8 reps, I think. And then since changing the training, I'm on 5.5, for a set of 9. So the difference is pretty crazy. That's the biggest difference in the whole split, is the hack squat. Everything else is pretty similar in terms of load, in terms of movements, but the hack squat is where there's a big difference, and probably the one that's getting into my head the most. Which it doesn't need to, because like I said before, the muscle doesn't know how much load you got on the bar. It's all about tension. It's all about how much tension you're putting through the muscle, and taking it to failure. But what I was thinking is, obviously since I changed my training up, I think my sessions have got better. I think my mind to muscle connections got better. I think my intensity on the muscle has got better because I'm so much more sore. It's Friday today, my legs are still sore from Tuesday. But just the feeling of accomplishment, I'm feeling accomplished coming out the gym is a bit different. I'm not getting the same feeling after training as I did when I was using the crazy amounts of load, which with anyone who has done that or is doing that, you'll know what I mean when I say that. You just get a sense of like accomplishment because you've done something that you've never done before. You've never touched a load before. So it's a very different feeling than what I'm doing now, which is still like a feeling of accomplishment, but it's different. But yeah, that's kind of where my head's at. I was literally just thinking that in this session today. So trying to change your mindset to still feel that sense of accomplishment once you've done these sessions that I'm doing now, because of maybe fullness, pump, still progressing, but I'm not doing anything that I haven't done before. And I think that's what drove me for so many years, was doing something every week that I'd never done before on all movements, compounds, accessories. Because for me that was like, okay, I'm gonna grow from this because it's something I've never done before. It's a new stress being put on the muscle, which I suppose what we're doing now still is the same, which is basically progressive overload. So yeah, that's just where my mind is at. But we've just got to switch that sense of accomplishment and put it into these sessions and feel that. Don't get me wrong, I'm still enjoying the training for sure. The pumps have been crazy, fullness has been crazy. Posing afterwards, look decent instead of, sometimes I would pose after some of my past sessions and I would just look deflated, because I think I was just killing my CNS, where my recovery has been much better. Very, very good, my sleep's been much better. And I think that's because I'm not as fucked, basically, which is what we're trying to do. We're trying to build a physique, but not absolutely trash yourself at the same time. So, one more sound here, we'll move. Right guys, that wraps us up for pull. Good session, all in all. Happy days. Nice and full. Decent pump, slightly bit flatter. Not the best pump I've ever had, but just because we're in prep and pumps, you know, are hard to come by as the further you get into prep. So you've got to make the most of them and just keep training consistently with the same form throughout. So that was a Smith machine barbell rows to finish. You know, not going crazy heavy on that to finish us. 3 sets, take to failure. You know, I'm not obviously looking to push load up gradually, but not getting carried away and doing like 3.5 plus plates. It's just keeping tension on the muscle throughout the set. You know, to finish it. You know, my back is blown. I think if I was still able to do like 3.5, 4 plates on a row at the end of a session, you know, it probably shows that I hadn't really been training hard in the session. So the fact that, you know, 2 and a bit plates feels hard is probably a good thing, that the session's gone well. So that's kind of where we're at. Just going to go in and do some posing now. 4 rounds I'm doing after training, which is about, you know, 8 to 10 minutes of posing. You know, which if you're doing them solid and you're not just going through the poses and you're actually holding them and being tense with them, 10 minutes a day is probably enough. I do 10 minutes post-training and then 2 rounds at the end of the night before bed. I've always done that. I will increase as fitness levels get better. So, but I think, you know, 4 hard rounds is enough. I think you know, you should be gassed and sweating at the end of that. So we're going to go in and do that now, and then maybe post-workout meal, which is just a little bit of Cocoa Pops and whey. Literally just ran out of whey today. I think on my last scoop or last serving for me, 60 grams. So 60 grams of whey, 100 grams of Cocoa Pops. Got my ESN order on the way, so that should be here in the next couple of days, hopefully. Problem is, if not today, it's going to be like Monday. So we might have to buy some protein from somewhere. Yeah, but you know, I'm going for, yeah. So we'll see. But session, good session. I was about to go on another ramble there, but we'll leave it there, guys. Appreciate you watching again. Here's to another episode on prep. Thank you for watching. And any questions, put them below, or Instagram, henry.taylor. Send me a message on there for any questions on training or coaching. That's still going. So yeah, thank you guys, and we'll see you next week.